we had flooding issues. We also had power outage issues. So people who parked in front of the gate, yeah, you're stuck. But I want to show you what's going on here. So we're in Dania Point. This is a pretty heavily traveled, heavily visited shopping center. I'm actually standing in front of a drain, and as you see, the water really has nowhere to go here. But as you mentioned, yes, there are a lot of cars that are stuck. People, their cars were stalled out, unfortunately, because of the high water. And you're looking at a car right here. This is the owner of the car. He actually was stuck here since 9 p.m. Wayne, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us. And sure. You said that you were here since last night. I mean, what exactly happened? How did your car get stuck here?
I was following a truck, and he was making a pass for me, and I was in Sterling, and Sterling was moving good until we got here, and then it stalled. He turned into here, so I followed him. I said, maybe I can take a shortcut, because I know this area. I had no idea that water would rise this high.
Shanae Amara live for us at Dania Point, and yeah, the roadway's still flooded, businesses still closed down.
Yeah, so I'm actually standing in what should be a parking space, but obviously I've got water just under my knees here. But again, you mentioned, yes, we're at Dania Point Shopping Center. This is off of the 95 right along Sterling Road. And as you look along here, you can see some of those stalled cars. We actually have a gentleman who's been here since 9 p.m. last night. You can see him over there actually talking with a Broward County Sheriff's deputy there. And that Sheriff's deputy has been driving around the area, getting people's information and alerting tow companies and just making sure that he can help those people out who are stranded out here. We've also seen some other people try to come back recently this morning. Just a few minutes ago, someone tried to come back to get their car. They pointed at the white Mercedes SUV that's actually blocked by another car, and he just shook his head saying, hey, you know, it looks like my car is flooded out, so it looks like I'm still not moving the car this morning. So a lot of frustration out here.
It's not just neighborhoods, there are government buildings that are dealing with flooding now. In fact, Shanae Amara is outside of City Hall in Fort Lauderdale, where we had reports of flooding inside. I know, Shanae, you were trying to work your way closer to the building to get a peek inside to see what they're dealing with. What are you seeing?
Right. Yeah, so, you know, as I tried to step inside, the door is actually closed, and I knocked, and a City Hall employee came and said, City Hall is closed, no power, and no phones. I asked, did you receive any flooding? Because I was actually on that side of the door in the building, so I didn't see what was happening here. And he said, oh yeah, take a look at this. So this is kind of some of the drainage that's happening. And you can see it looks like crews are working to clear some of this water out. And guys, I mean, I'm no expert, but I say that truck you see here, that white pickup truck, that car is probably done for. And you actually also see these dumpsters that appear to be floating in the water. I mean, they're moving around. So just thinking about how heavy those dumpsters are, that gives you an idea of just how much water is in here. I want to show you kind of what we're seeing here because we're still seeing some water in different areas, but we're also seeing these road hazards because there are cars kind of all over the place. And what's really alarming, I really want to demonstrate this for you, is just how dark it is. So I want to bring the camera back and turn off the light because this is what we're seeing as we're driving up to this area. This is how dark it is. We're going to turn back on the light for you because some spots as we drive up to these cars, you don't really even see it until you approach the vehicle. So it's pretty alarming. But I want to show you just kind of how much water we're still seeing in this area. Some spots we're seeing even more water, of course. So it's pretty alarming. But over the past couple days, we've seen a lot of neighbors helping neighbors, a lot of gratitude for first responders, but also a lot of shock and devastation from the overwhelming flooding. Well, some like Yvonne, the owner of Heidelberg Restaurant in the heart of Fort Lauderdale and in the heart of the flood zone, watched as water seeped into her family business last night, but she was safe at home while this was happening. And just like her business, many homes flooded as well. Well, Thursday, we saw dramatic rescues. NBC6 rode along with Fort Lauderdale firefighters as they went house to house, rescuing people in dire need, as first responders urged drivers not to make matters worse.
Vehicles were broke down and people continued to drive, and then next thing you know, it was 10 or 12 or 13. And now we can't get our units through there because of the gridlock of disabled vehicles.
All right, back out here live again. You're seeing the water on the roadway, and it's actually probably hard to see. I want to zoom down if we can. So some of these cars yes, are in the travel lane, but some are just kind of slanted. And this is actually causing a lot of drivers, because of the hazards here on the roadway, it's causing some drivers to go on the other side of the street and drive on the wrong side of the street. They do put on their hazard lights as they drive along the wrong side of the street. But again, it's kind of scary. It is a safety hazard. We don't even see cones out here or flashing lights. So you really have to drive slowly and pay close attention when you're traveling throughout Fort Lauderdale, because again, there are abandoned cars still all over the place here. For now, reporting live in Fort Lauderdale, Shernay Amara, NBC 6 News.
My photojournalist Tony Phelan and I are walking to speak with a man whose neighborhood is flooded, but it is too deep for us to drive. So we're actually going to leave our car here and walk down so that we can share his story.
In 250 feet, take a right on Riverland Road.
If you think this is bad, just wait for it. It gets worse and deeper.
Yeah, I don't usually expect to see a body of water looking outside my window. It doesn't belong here.
This is Flamingo Park after Wednesday's heavy rain and flooding overwhelmed these streets.
I was just watching cars go by. Some of them would make it through and some would just go and then they'd stop. We had a couple of neighbors who stalled right here, and we took them in for a little while, and they made arrangements to get picked up on a kayak. They got rescued by on a kayak.
Anthony Lentini shared pictures from that night showing how neighbors commuted. But now, a day and a half after the rainfall, for residents here, the only way out is through it. Have you been able to leave your house, or are you just kind of trapped?
Trapped. I walked through it to go to 7-Eleven way early this morning. It was probably not a great idea. I don't know, what, slipping on stuff. And
he says he called the city and they told him they're experiencing issues with calls dropping, but they are working to help all the residents, but don't have a specific timetable on drainage.
I mean, I've heard neighbors maybe with more experience saying it'll be a few days. So I don't know. I mean, we've had flooding not this severe, and within a day or so it recedes, but this is several days, I think, before this is gone.
He says thankfully he lives high up enough that his home stayed dry, although he can't say the same for everyone in Flamingo Park. But the hope here is the water will be cleared sooner than later.
That's what I'm hoping for, that they'll get out and clear the storm drains or whatever it is they do to help this water move along.